That escalated quickly.
Are you nuts?
Will those clips ever get old? I don't know. Welcome to the show about shows, movie reviews. I am JPO Jordan Pierce Owens, joined here once again by a man that just changed shirts, Dutch McAllister.
Hey, you can't. If you're watching this show, you gotta at least change on occasion. I'm like a prima donna. I have to. If I was on another show, I'd be changing to another shirt just to put your minds, people.
And I'm the opposite. Watch my reviews next week. I might be in the same shirt.
I know we're gonna get to this review pretty soon, but do you remember I wore the same shirt? I think for like three shows in a row, and even though it was like a week, each week, it was weird. It was weird. Continuity. That's what I was looking for.
Yeah, shout out to if you ever watch our channel. Shout out to Tato. I think owns just 2 Camelot shirts. So always wearing the same shirt. Anyway, this time we're reviewing a recent horror flick called The Black Phone. It's actually, I believe, is also on video on demand now. If you don't want to go to the theaters anymore, Finney Shaw, a shy but clever 13-year-old boy, is abducted by a sadistic killer and trapped in a soundproof basement, where screaming is of little use. When a disconnected phone on the wall begins to ring, Finney discovers that he can hear the voices of the killer's previous victims, and they are dead set on making sure that what happened to them doesn't happen to Finney. This stars Mason Thames, Madeline McGraw, Ethan Hawke, Jeremy Davies, E. Roger Mitchell, and James Ransone. Written and directed by Scott Derrickson, who you might know from both Sinister with Ethan Hawke in the past, as well as the first Ant-Man. I believe he did as well. So, Black Phone. Talk to me, Dutch. What was your? Oh, he also did a Hellraiser sequel. Anywho, that was his first movie. What was your thoughts on the Black Phone here?
Oh man, the Black Phone. Blumhouse knows how to make them cheap, and they know how to make them good. And that's the good thing about horror films.
I was going to say cheap, it doesn't look cheap.
No, but it is a small set. Very small, area, not a lot of movement. It was filmed in Wilmington, North Carolina. I know for people playing at home, I do look at where they filmed these things. It was in and around Wilmington, North Carolina. So it doesn't have that Georgia feel. Man, Ethan Hawke is intense as the grabber in this film. And Mason Thames plays Finney, who is never, he's kind of frail. His sister actually sticks up for him in a fight. His friends always stick up for him because he's never got the courage, or I think it's more of his home life that's really got him, down, because his dad is an abusive drunk, and he treats each kid as if they're just awful people because of whatever happened in the past to the mother. And that is Jeremy Davies, who plays a fantastic drunk, who's always a great character actor. If you've not seen him, he was also in the series of Lost back in the day. Madeline McGraw, she to me told some of the scenes that any scene that she was in. She played Gwen. She's the sister who has the dreams, and one of the quotes, I'm going to quote it for you verbatim. It was the funniest deal. The cops are coming in and they're asking her, how does she know about black balloons right at the site? And she goes, yeah, I took them down because obviously I'm the grabber, you dumb fucking fart knockers. Now that is probably the greatest quote that you'll ever see a kid utter.
Fun fact: "Dumb fucking fart knockers" the working title, and they were told no.
Oh well, was it? Yeah, that's a great title. I think we should nail that for our up and coming pending film.
Biopic about us.
Yeah, we're just done. But yeah, and to me, it's just how I think a horror suspense should be. Not a lot of blood, just a lot of suspense. A lot of, oh my goodness, is this going to happen? A little bit of the paranormal as well. And I got goose pimples anytime the phone rang, and just listening to how these kids died, within this basement, trying to help him get out, is a horrific thing as well. I just love this movie a lot. It's probably in my top 10 so far this year. And you know me, I don't like horror films, but this is well done. This is probably the best horror film that I've seen in a very, very long time.
Yeah, this is one that won me over from the trailer here. I was interested in it. Got delayed a little bit here, so we've been even it made me want it even more actually. So it might have worked out for a bitter. Yeah, this I really did this one as well, man. Here, I like the pace. It's a little bit of a slow burn here. I mean, if you don't count the flashbacks of the of the kids, there's not a
Yeah.
lot of death for a very long time. Technically, you know what I mean. Like the body count's not high unless you count the kids that you meet later on that are dead already.
Right.
But I enjoy that element here. Great kid performances all around here. The main two, the brother and sister, are really
Yeah.
good here, and then everyone you hear on the phone too, really good phone performances here. The story is actually by Joe Hill, which is a Stephen King son, and you can see there's definitely some Stephen King elements to it between obviously the phone hearing the past victims here, and then the sister maybe having these powers that the dad just doesn't understand here. You know what I mean? It led to the downfall of his wife, so he's abusive because he's just afraid in most ways here. And you mentioned too, Davies is really good. Saving Private Ryan is the first place I saw him at. He's one of the cast members of that. He's the guy that's afraid to. He's never held a gun before. I think is his character in that movie.
Yeah, I do remember that. Yes.
And I do remember him too popping up in Lost. And be like, oh, right, sweet, because he's one of the later on cast members.
Yeah.
And yeah, so yeah, they're great. And Ethan Hawke, man, got to give him credit here. It reminded me of, in a weird way, kind of like a Dread with Carl Urban, and as in a sense of you don't really see a lot of Hawk. 90% of the movie is him covered up face wise with the mask, so it's a very emoting performance here. It's the way he stands, it's the way he moves and talks with his mouth. It's you know what I mean. It's a great performance here that's mostly covered up. You know what I mean. Other than the first time he kidnaps him, and maybe like a couple small moments later on, it's 90% of him, covered up, and it's still a really great and juicy performance here for Ethan Hawke. We did talk before as far as one of the downfalls. We talked before with the movie Nope having, not to you necessarily a necessary subplot, to me maybe this one also has a weird segue with another character that you could pretty much cut out, and again didn't really factor into anything. You know what I'm talking about?
What character was this? I'm trying to remember.
I don't want to say it.
The brother.
Oh, you want to say it? Yeah, you know what I mean. Like they kind of set it up like halfway through, and then it really doesn't equal much in the end of the day. Like you know what I mean. Like other than adding, I think a little bit more horror to the film. Like it very much was a weird, kind of unnecessary segue to a degree that I kind of felt like either do more or do less. I just felt like they kind of went in the middle and like just did enough where like it could pad the runtime and add more horror. You know what I mean? So.
The movie's made. I looked up some stats for just this review. It was made between $16 and $18 million, right? And to worldwide, it's made over $130 million. Talk about how these are just cash cows, and Blumhouse Productions is just milking them. You know what I'm saying?
That's what I mean, man. Like that's kind of the beautiful thing about a horror film is that if you can find a good one and make it on, like you said, relatively on the cheap, and doesn't need to look cheap because there's not much more you need in this particular movie other than you know what I mean. It's really there's nothing I have to think about it other than some gore effects and then some makeup, with the dead kids. It's really not much you need.
And it's 1978, so there's not a lot of technology you got to spend money on.
Sometimes that does cause because then you have to dress things up a certain way. So that might have been part of where the budget actually was. Oh no, we can't have that car. We need this kind of car. You can't wear those jeans. Those jeans are 90s.
Well, that's probably why they went to Wilmington, North Carolina. Nothing really changed.
A good backdrop for it. That looks like it hasn't moved since the 70s here. So man, I dug it as well here. This was, I wouldn't say a surprise because I wanted to see it from the get go here, but it met if not surpassed expectations.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it 4.5 because I love it, and I can't wait to own it. So and it's probably, like I said, this is in my top 10 of the year so far. Yeah. So
no, this is another top 10 for me, man, too, and I'm a hard ass. I'm right at 4. I'm gonna give it an even 4 here, but that's
I'm not going 5. Fives are very tough, unless you're Nicolas Cage, and then you get that.
And And I could see I think the only big argument to where people are lower is that it is slower. If you're
Yeah.
looking for nonstop gore, this is not the movie for you here. But if you're looking for a slower kind of character, and like I said, even the first 30 minutes here really is mostly about getting to know these kids, which I was
Yeah.
fine with. I will give
Correct.
me a reason to give a shit about the characters. I'm always fine with that. So again, if you're looking for a nonstop thrill ride, might not be for you. You might be more in the 2.5, 3 range. But I think again, if you're just looking for an interesting plot here, good performances here, and it hooks you, you're hooked to the very end of wondering, will he get out here? Because as you can see in the trailer, not every attempt works out. Because even the ghosts don't know. The ghosts don't know. The ghosts are just hoping that this might work. Maybe this will work. Didn't work for me. Maybe this will work.
And don't forget, if you need a good family film, it's on VOD. You can watch it at home. You don't have to leave the comfort of your own palace.
A good family film? What are you saying? Watch this with your 4-year-old? What are you talking about?
Well, it'll keep the kids at home. I mean, it'll make them not want to run out in the streets and play around like bustards. It'll keep them home.
In a weird way. Because again, the kid doesn't get kidnapped because a creepy guy in a black van was like, "Oh, I want to see a magic trick," and he's like, "Yeah, I do."
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So yeah, if you want to steer your kids straight, let them watch this film.
Yeah, all right. You know what? I didn't know where you're going with that, but I kind of agree with you. So let your kids watch this R-rated film. It will scare them from not wanting to see a creepy man do a magic trick. So yeah, that's pretty decent. Big reviews here, actually, 4.5 for the Black Phone. As you said, I believe it's still in some theaters. I saw it only a couple weeks ago, but if not, you can get it on VOD here, and I'm sure rentals will be coming pretty soon here as well. So yeah, check that out when you can. The Black Phone, new film from Scott Derrickson. Like, subscribe. Oh, any parting words, Dutch?
I can't wait to do the reunion special. I'm hoping there's a reunion special.
There is, yes. Stay tuned to the channel because Dutch will be back. Of all the actors that I got him to come back for, I don't know if it's a screenshot of the Will Ferrell or not, but it's Wilson. Wilson top 10, evidently, is what's going to get Dutch back in the seat.
And Ryan will show up too, so we have to get him involved as well. So I have to work with it. I will work on it. I will work on his schedule for us. So enough of this. Let's put this preview.
It has been a while since I've seen him put together a top 10 list at the last second. Royal Tenenbaums? That sounds fun. Number 9. All right. Like, subscribe. Follow Dutch on Twitter. Follow me on Twitter. Good night.